another thing we wanted to talk to you about, Rahne, about the after-school history the episodes that you've been doing, because I think they're really cool. They're very smart. They cut through the and get...
They cut through the and they're also still magically approachable and accessible to, like, I think, a wide age range, which is a really hard thing to accomplish.
Hi. In 1940, Hattie McDaniel became the first black person to win an Oscar, though she did have to sit at a side table in the back of the room because racism. Congratulations, Hattie. Here's your Oscar. Now go sit your ass in the back.
Please don't stop doing it.
I know, I want you to do something
Never
more.
get rid of that mug.
Oh yeah, world's okayest teacher.
There you go.
I love that mug.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, what inspired you to do that?
Listen, so I'm just a big nerd. Bridget will tell you, I read like biographies and like, you know, just straight up just history books because I think it's just fascinating. This is where we came from, and every situation in the past basically has led us to, you know, where we are now. And so I just had an idea that, you know, this quarantine has shut everything down. You know, auditions are few and far between. I wanted to, first of all, have a creative outlet, and then I also wanted to take an opportunity to like tell some history that people don't know or didn't learn in history because, let's be honest, our history books are whitewashed.
Well, like the way you handled Jim Crow was amazing.
In the early 1830s, Rice became a star. What's wrong with that, Rahne? Well, he became a star because of his wildly popular character, Jim Crow, a trickster field hand who would chuck and jive to Jump Jim Crow, a song that Rice adapted. In school, it's like, oh yeah, these were called Jim Crow laws. Black people couldn't, you know, drink at the same water fountain. They had their own, and I'm like, wait a minute, who's Jim Crow? Like, where did it come from? And then to find out that the character originated from a white guy performing blackface, and I'm like, oh.
I had no idea. And they're not going to talk about that in history
They're
books.
not going to, your history teacher is not going to be like, and now blackface, you know? Like, so I took the opportunity to really dig deep in terms of like what stories I could tell, who would impact, who would benefit from it, and I guess I'm just grateful that this little project, people actually like.
I see a lot online, you know, meme pages, or when celebrities post something about anything having to do with the state of the world and politics. You know, a lot of people will say, you know, you're a celebrity, stay out of politics. But do you think that these people are not using their own unique voices in these shows? Because they are, you know? So it's weird to me when people say celebrities should not be speaking up at all, you know, personally, because it's like, well, people are infusing their own thoughts into what they do anyway.
They also inhabit this earth, so they are also entitled to speak their mind as well. Whether you take it or not is on you. You know, that sounds like a personal problem, but whatever.
The world we live in now is inherently political. Like, while politics right now can decide whether I can get an abortion or whether we can get married. Like, right now, everything in our lives, especially all of ours, is decided by who is elected in November or who is picked for the Supreme Court in an hour or whatever. Like,
like in an hour.
Until that isn't what the politics is doing, we're not going to shut up. And that's when I get mad, and why sometimes I'm like, I wish I had 100,000 people listening, because I'm not the one that's going to shut up. And I get mad that the people who have 400,000 followers are like prancing around downtown talking about their favorite sneaker, when like there are people that are able to do that because they have the privileged life of not worrying about whether the Supreme Court justice could take away their right to get married. Like, those are the people that should be talking. Those are the people who should be getting political, because they have the ability to influence people. And
absolutely.
Like, it's what I just yell at my phone about all the time.
You know what does make me upset is these social media platforms like Instagram, for instance. If I post my things that are political or about what's going on, they knowingly push those things down in the algorithm much further than any fluff that I post. So the way we can counteract that is, if you are still trying to get those viewpoints out, let's use a piece of fluff that will drive people to your page right next to these political things that we feel.
There was a whole thing about like,
wow, if that's even a thing.
Like, Kim Kardashian posted like a sexy selfie, and then the caption was about like Armenia and the Armenian
genocide.
And everybody was like, why would she do that? I'm like, because y'all are looking at those pictures and then you'll read that caption.
On that note, we should pivot to a fluff.
To the fluff!
So we can wrap them in. The last topic we kind of want to touch on with you guys real quick is, we met you guys in Florida back in February as part of the Knots. I know, it seems like a whole different world.
It's been 84
as part of the Knots.
years.
Oh man.
So we met in Florida as part of the Knott's Most Influential Wedding Cruise of 2020. We were there with what? I think there were 10 couples in total, 12, something like that. Yeah. So how has quarantine and COVID impacted your wedding plans and what was going to happen?
If you had asked us back in March, we thought nothing. We thought we'd be fine because we were supposed to get married October 10th.
We told that
2
to
weeks.
ourselves too.
Yeah.
We were like, oh my God, it's March, October wedding. Get out of here.
Yeah.
This will be handled.
And we had just sent our save the dates. We sent our save the dates like right before we went to the Knot thing. So when this first started, we were like, there's no way, like maybe it'll affect our bridal shower because that was going to be in June. And then by April, we were like, you know what, yeah, we'll push the bridal shower till April. That's fine. At this point, we didn't know when her second season was coming out. So we're like, it'll all be done by then. And at this point, we hadn't picked, we had most of our stuff done, even before we signed out with the Knot, we had most of our stuff done. But we didn't have, like our wedding venue is a cultural institution, it's a museum. And in New York City, they were closed. New York City, we like experienced, I think, probably the worst in America in terms of shutdown and also like being afraid to be outside. So I don't even know if the museum's open now. It might be now, but like as of 2 months ago, they weren't even sure if it would be open in time for our wedding to happen. So
you're doing it at the museum?
Yeah, so we're getting married at the Museum of the City of New York. So we ended up just deciding to push, and then we were like, well, if we're gonna push, we might as well push to the spring. And then we kind of just had to decide what we wanted to do. Like, I am not a summer bride. Do not put me outside. I will sweat like a pig. So I didn't want it to be too hot. So we were like, well, I guess it's got to be like April or May. Yeah. So we decided on May 2nd. And even now, I'm like, who knows if that'll work. Yeah. It's such a bummer because, like, I'm the planner. I was so excited to plan our wedding. Like, I spent so much time planning it and getting everything together. And now I'm like, if we didn't have deposits, I'd get married like on a street corner. It makes the process not as exciting. But I mean, I'm still excited to get married.
Yeah, I'm excited to marry you.
That isn't fluff if I'm a bummer, but
I was like, this is supposed to be a happy time.
I know, I am. We're supposed to get married in 2 weeks, and so now we're going on a trip, and that time we're gonna go to the Berkshires for a couple days, and that'll be something to look. Just to have anything to look forward to is a new concept. So we'll at least have that to like celebrate the day. Yeah,
literally anything.
So we'll do that to celebrate the day, and then just keep our fingers crossed that we can. Well, we're gonna get married in May, and then we'll just hope everybody can come.